started in a seat, and I'm going to suggest soles of the feet together, knees wide, so like a butterfly seat. This is a perfect time if you already feel like this is not the most comfortable way for you to sit. You can slide like a blanket. You can always, take your pillow or something and sit on top of it. But once you've taken the feet together, knees nice and wide, go ahead and kind of inch your feet away from you. And then just let your hands fall down onto your shins, your knees. Sit up nice and tall. And if you're comfortable with it, let your eyes close off. And just start to take a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your nose. And already beginning to tap into a sense of not needing to rush anything. Taking your time with each breath, each inhale, each exhale. The next time that you breathe in, go ahead and fill all the way up to the top and hold at the top for a moment. This time, open your mouth, exhale everything out. One more time, deep, deep breath in. Open your mouth, let everything go. Come back to breathing in and out through your nose. And for the next 5 breaths or so while we're here, if you'd like to roll your head out, roll out your neck a little bit side to side. If also it feels nice to kind of wiggle into your torso and just move into your spine a little bit. We're going to find plenty of stillness in a moment. But if in these first few moments, it just feels nice to take some small movements. Nothing needs to be big or all that wild, but just enough that your body starts to feel a sense of relief, a sense of release from any tension that's held inside. And then eventually we'll begin to meet into our official first posture. And you're going to stretch your legs out nice and wide. So it might still feel nice to sit on your bolster or your blanket a little bit. And when I start to straighten out my legs into this V shape, it might feel nice to kind of pedal out the legs a little bit, like bend deep into one knee, deep into the other, just to kind of feel into the hamstrings before we fold. And then wiggle out your toes a little bit, let them relax, and then bring your hands in front of you and crawl yourself forward. Everyone's going to go to a different amount of depth. So you can stay on your palms. Some of you might like to lower down towards your forearms. If you do have one of the props, you can also bring the ground closer to you and lay your hands down onto a prop. You're just going to feel kind of the act of your forehead softening towards the ground. And now we'll begin to find a little bit more stillness. And you're going to let your breath ease more to a natural pace. It might be a little bit deeper since we've been paying attention to it, but really letting go of the need to control anything. And then just beginning to observe what happens when you let your body fall into its natural rhythm, its natural pace with your breath, its natural depth. And they say that the magic of a yin practice, that moment where this motion starts to move from the muscles into the connective tissues, is right around 60 seconds, 90 seconds in that time frame somewhere. And we're just about curving that 60-second mark. So this practice begins to allow us to move a little bit deeper into the body, into some of the areas that are not as easily accessible. And we put this really more or less gentle stress on the connective tissues. And when we release, it's kind of like a lot of circulation, a lot of almost like flooding those certain areas with fresh blood, fresh oxygen, just getting a lot of stuff moving around physically and energetically. And we have maybe just another 90 seconds or so left in this posture. So especially in those moments where it feels like this is really tough or your mind can't stop, there's always the almost relief of knowing that it's not forever. We're just here for a little bit of time, really, in comparison to everything that we do. In these last few breaths, if you feel any tension has crawled into your neck, your shoulders, begin to soften them. Use your exhale to kind of melt away any of that tension that builds up. Let's take one more deep breath in and a deep breath out. If you have folded forward in any way, slowly begin to rise yourself up. And we're going to take the exit nice and slow because we were just in that for a little while. And as you begin to upright your spine, I like to use my hands to gently begin to guide one foot back in, bend into that knee, and then the other leg. We'll go ahead and set, if you used any props, off to the side and just bring your feet flat to the ground. Maybe just giving yourself a little hug in, relax your head and neck, or even roll out your neck a little bit. We'll take a few moments before we move on to the next posture, and this just allows us to integrate what just happened and rather not shock the body from going from one really deep pose to another. From here, go ahead and recline down onto your back. You're just going to let yourself rest all the way down. We'll take broken bridge for just a moment. So feet out nice and wide, tap your knees in together. And it might feel nice to be really still here, or even windshield wipe your knees a couple times side to side. Again, everyone's a little different with obviously how our bodies are, but just also what you felt from that last pose. So if this helps release anything out, a couple of these windshield wipers might feel nice. And then eventually, feet about hips width apart, we're going to take supported bridge. So that bolster or pillow or whatever it is that you grabbed that has like a little bit of a boost, you're going to lift your hips up and slide it underneath you. So if you did grab like a pillow from home, if you want a bigger boost, you can kind of fold that pillow in half and slide it underneath you. A bolster or a block, for those of you that have blocks at home, will work great too. And then once you get it to a height that feels okay, we're not trying to push our edge. We're just kind of getting a little boost out of the hips. You can either keep your feet flat on the ground or straighten your right leg forward. And if we go with straightening the leg, we're just going to go one leg at a time. So you'll know pretty quick if this is okay on your back. If you start to get achy at all, just bring your feet flat on the ground again. And then I like to rest my hands on my belly. If you want arms by your sides, again, just choose a position for the arms that feels comfortable. The focus is definitely the low back. And then if you straighten out the leg a little bit more into the hip flexors. Let your eyes rest, let your gaze rest. And then maybe if your mind has gone anywhere, take a few deep breaths too. And each breath helps anchor you right back into the practice. Over the past week, I was listening to some podcast and there was like a single line that stood out for me. I wish I remembered what the podcast was, but the person just said, action creates clarity. And I know for me, a lot of these practices that I come to, it's to clear my mind. It's to just find clarity in what I'm feeling and what's going on with life. And yin gets to be this really interesting practice where it is action. We are doing something. We're doing something very specific. But we also get to find this, or kind of quote unquote, do nothing when we're in the doing. I know that could be a little heady, but in yin, a lot is happening beneath the surface, even if it looks like we're doing nothing. So maybe with this practice, maybe with each breath, you get to tap into your own clarity. And we've got just a little bit longer here. Please know that if you ever feel like if anything's ever painful, you can always take that block out from under you and lay on your back. Discomfort and a challenging pose is one thing, but we don't want to push pain. Few more breaths. Soften your jaw, relax your tongue. Even notice if you tend to kind of grip with your palms in your hands, let them relax. And give yourself one more breath in. And stay with one more breath out. If you did take your right leg long, go ahead and slowly plant that foot back down to the ground. And kind of like you're moving through honey, lift your hips, and we're going to take that block or bolster, pillow, whatever you've got, you're going to take it out. Once you do that, broken bridge again. Walk your feet out nice and wide, tap your knees in together. Maybe hand to belly, hand to heart, and you're just going to breathe a little bit. In yin, we call this the rebound. These points of stillness in between the postures. I mentioned before, it helps to not shock the body moving from one deep pose to the next. It also helps integrate any of the benefits and just anything that's happening within the body, within the lines of energy. It gives all of that a chance to kind of settle itself in. You'll begin to take your knees into your chest and maybe just a couple rocks side to side, massaging your low back into the ground. Even drawing some circles up in the sky might feel nice as you really massage the entire length of your spine and all the areas surrounding down to the floor. You're going to bump your hips to the right a little bit, and we'll find a twist. So you can move with knees together, drop them to the left, and then let your right arm stretch out, relax your right shoulder to the ground. You can always put your pillow in between your thighs if that feels nice. And then you'll just rest your arms, let them land somewhere that feels just comfortable and again, without you needing to do a whole lot. And then again, maybe a few moments to return back to a deep breath. Even an open mouth exhale or two might help you release anything that's rising to the surface. And I'm going to leave you here for another couple minutes, allowing yourself to observe this wonderful balance between doing and not doing. About 30 seconds left here. Where can you surrender a little bit more? Where can you soften just a tiny bit more? Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Unwind your body little by little. Giving yourself all the time that you would like to unravel from this shape. And I'm a big fan of just coming back to that broken bridge shape if there's really any other position that you prefer to be in. We'll take a few breaths in the integration, the rebound. And you're just observing what's coming up for you. You don't have to label anything good or bad. Just watching. Got our second round of bridge. Take your prop, slide it underneath you. Have it so you are fully supported and you can just kind of rest your hips down onto it. You don't have to do anything to hold your body up. And then now the option's there to take your left leg long. And know that you don't have to get still right away either. Sometimes a few moments of like little fidgets will help your body find the right positioning. I also had a teacher recently say, don't fight the fidgets. As much as we are trying to get still, as much as we are, trying to tap into a sense of inner peace and inner quiet, sometimes when we fight so hard against, our little fidgets, our movements, that almost causes more distraction, more quote unquote suffering. I think sometimes if you give in, maybe fidget for a moment, your body will find that position that it can be okay in for the long run. And then easeful breaths. I'll bring us back together in a few minutes. Less than a minute left. You're almost there. Give yourself 2 more deep breaths. And then as you feel ready to begin to come out, if your left leg was extended, slide it back, left foot to the ground. Take out your prop gently, roll down onto your back. And then find a position to rest in. And maybe on your back isn't the right position right now. You can always roll towards one side and kind of hug yourself in. All we want for this in-between time is for your body to be more neutral, not really looking for a lot of sensation. And then from there, draw your knees into your chest. A rock side to side, or maybe you come back to those circles with your knees if that felt nice. And then scoot your hips to the left a little bit now and drop your knees to the right. Left shoulder relaxes down to the ground. You can open up that arm as wide as you've got space for it. That's wherever the right arm lands is perfect. Again, nothing needs to be, super structured. And just a few minutes of our final official pose. I sometimes like to treat twists as kind of like this big release in the body, wringing out anything that just feels held up, stuck. And then every breath as if it's aiding it. Your inhales, you feel a little bit more expansive, and that exhale guides the twist in. And as you watch, really subtle, even though we're in that space of not moving, quote unquote, not doing, there's so much really subtly happening. That expansion, contraction, the circulation of prana. We're moving through that halfway point. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. To release from this one, I'm going to have you roll towards your right side and just lay on your side for a few moments, maybe a hand to cradle your head. And as you feel your body come out of the twist and find a more neutral spine, maybe a hand against the ground, and just about 5 breaths here. And now I'm going to let you find Shavasana. And again, everyone is different in the way that they like to lay for Shavasana. Find a comfortable position, traditionally on your back. Utilize any props that you might like. And then if there's any final small movements that, again, help you get comfortable into this final position, please take them. We're just going to give ourselves a nice long Shavasana. You'll hear the sounds of different instruments incorporated. My only suggestion is to let yourself sink into the ground and just gift yourself a few minutes of presence. Take a few moments to breathe deep again. And just to feel the rise and fall of your breath. To feel the expansion and contraction through your body. The next time that you breathe in, fill all the way up to the top. And open your mouth, let everything empty. Letting every inch of your body relax just a tiny bit more. The muscles around your eyes, your forehead, your jaw, your tongue. And just feeling that sensation trickle down the rest of your body. Begin to feel your breath a little bit deeper. And taking a few wiggles, wiggling out your fingers, your toes. It might feel nice to stretch your arms up overhead as you start to feel yourself come back. We're going to stay laying on our backs for a few more moments. Wherever it feels comfortable to lay your hands. Maybe to the ground beside you or on your belly. Take a moment of gratitude. Thank yourself. Thank those that joined from all over. And then anything else you want to acknowledge within this practice. Let's take a big breath in again. Whole body fills. And open your mouth, let everything release. And thank you so much for spending this time together. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your presence, and I'm going to let you wake up and open up your eyes as you need, as you desire.